Yo, guys, man, welcome, and it's been right here, Double H, Have That Hope here, and we're continuing this hot series, and I thought that, rather than doing one specifically on Dortmund or for Bayern, I thought that the best thing to do is to do one on the Bundesliga as a whole, and I thought that, the best guy for this, is, a guy that's also been hang out for a long time and has given us the expert knowledge from German football. It's the main man. It's your boy. It's Kadim. So Kadim, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me on this Bundesliga breakdown.
Thanks. Looking forward to it as well.
All right, cool. So look, man, let's just start off straight in, man. Let's put away the pleasantries. So Dortmund, top of the league, doing really well, playing some very exciting football. And Favre, who sort of did well, didn't do so well, got sacked, did pretty well, then has now come and he's now pretty much puts his name into one of the most exciting managers out there with how he's transformed this team. So if you can, maybe you want to just focus mainly on what Dortmund have done well, but if you can maybe get into it, what is the kind of difference you've seen in Dortmund under Tuchel in the previous seasons they had him and what Favre has done? Can you speak to the difference in tactical approach, the difference in the way that they've moved the ball around, the difference in the way they play, in which Dortmund just look maybe far more effective under Favre than they did under Tuchel?
I think maybe we should start with players available for both coaches.
Yeah.
If we think about Tuchel, he was playing specifically with Weigl and Gündogan on the 6 and number 8 in defense midfield. And he was...
So did he have Castro?
Yeah, he had also Castro. That's true. He was... yeah, that's true. Castro was also there. But he was not as far as I remember, he was not a definite starter. So it was maybe in a Tuchel applied a little bit more of different systems and rotated maybe also a bit more. But that's also due to like Gündogan, for example, who has lots of injury issues. So that's maybe a necessity. Whereas Favre now pretty much sticks to the same 11. So this is a major difference. Tuchel was much more about changing systems and approaches, I would say. And also the player personnel he had available was quite different. If you now look at Favre's team, he plays with Witzel, who for me is one of the biggest player or the best players or best transfers Dortmund could have done. To give you a perspective on my estimation, for me, Witzel is the reference, and you could compare him to the likes of Van Dijk at Liverpool.
Oh yeah. Also, you think he's had that kind of impact on Dortmund?
Yeah, exactly. Is that he's so good simply, and he's really how he's facilitating the ball movement, how he's defending, how he's taking over the leadership of his team is in this defensive approach.
But very quickly, let me quickly go back to Tuchel. Let's just say, what if Tuchel kept the same lineup? He had a lineup and he kept the same lineup. Do you think that he would have been much more effective, or because of the players that Favre has that he can choose from, even if Tuchel kept the same lineup, he still wouldn't be as effective as Favre has been?
I mean, Tuchel was really effective. He was really great actually at Dortmund. So in my opinion, it was a huge blow, because I like Dortmund, that he didn't get along with the board. So he was one of the most successful coaches for Dortmund, right behind Klopp, who obviously won the Bundesliga 2 times in a row. But as far as I remember, Tuchel was the best second-placed team in the history of the Bundesliga or Dortmund.
But it's second though. That's the thing. It's second.
That's true. That's true. But you still need to. I mean, like Bayern was like, it's still. Yeah, it's.
Basically very strong. But look, let's go back to Witsel. My thing about it is that when that transfer was, because I'm surprised by the impact that he's made, because I felt that obviously he was great for Zenit. Yes. Well, remind me if I'm wrong. Did he come from China or he came from Zenit? He came from China.
I think, I believe China.
So so my issue is that whenever players go to China, lower level of quality. Therefore, because again, for football, I'm sure you will know playing football as well. You play based on the quality. So let's say you play for a few months with players who you're far better than. If you then go to another league where players are now to your level, even higher than your level, it's very hard for you to now raise your level and adjust that because you're so used to not having to be at a high level based on the lower level you played with. So are you surprised by how well Witsel has been able to raise his level to the high level of football that the Bundesliga has compared to China?
Like, first of all, I'm not 100% sure that he came from China, but I believe it was so, yeah. I was indeed surprised by the impact Witsel has had, because, like, even if he came from, what was Shakhtar? I mean, like, he's in the end of his 20s, I believe. But, like, I think what helped him is like this huge amount of experience he could.
Just say that
in the different leagues he was playing.
Just very briefly, he came from Tianjin Quanjian. Yeah.
I mean, like, it has pros and cons. Like, for example, like, injuries don't happen as often, I would suggest, in the Chinese league. Like, it's not that intense and physically exhausting playing in such leagues. Take for example Rooney or Mario Götze, and those type of players who are starting really early or really like young in the biggest league, like Premier League or Bundesliga. Like, when they are 25. When you see like a stagnation, or like, because they start so early, they don't have they have lots of injury problems, and so it can also give you more energy in the later parts of your career if you start more slowly and in a lower tier league. So I was surprised, that's true, but also if you have a certain level and experience, and he's still playing for the Belgium national team in Europe. So I think this is what helped him to make this impact for Dortmund. So yeah.
Okay. So I want to move on to Marco Reus now. Again, one of my personal favorite players in the last 5-6 years, and I get who I still feel is very underrated, and I've come out and said that if any player deserves a trophy, it's this dude, based on no fault of his own, the injuries that he's received. So based off his injuries, the physical toll it takes on you, but especially the mental toll it takes on you, are you surprised by his form this season, that he's pretty much almost playing to the level that he was at during Klopp's heyday? So are you surprised that he's still been able, after all his injuries, still play at such a high level?
Like, I believe, like, what I'm surprised about Reus, that he's stayed injury free. So he was just missing one game, like the last game against Leipzig, because of an minor ankle injury. So he will be available again for this weekend, because he was training again. So which was surprising for me, that he stayed injury-free the whole season so far. So, like, the level he achieved is not so surprising for me, because I felt like that he was similar to Robben, who also had lots of injuries, who came back like a new, like, again, he on the spot he was showing his qualities, and I feel that Reus was basically doing the same. So he was always when he came back from his injuries, he was always like an impact, made a huge impact for Dortmund, and was showing that quality which he has. And so for me, it's not a surprise. It's the only surprise is that he's injury free so long. And I guess that's also maybe a difference to what Favre did, that he takes special care of the training regime, which must be a difference to what has happened, or luck, like either of the two. But I would suggest that it's maybe also the because he played every game, and this I don't know when this was happened the last time. So this is my surprise about Reus, not the level he actually achieved, but like.
So I mean, do you still? Because again, it's a good point that you bring up with Robben. Because remember, like Robben, he had lots of injuries, and people thought, oh man, these injuries are going to hold him back. Then he was just able to somehow get over the injuries and get that behind him. So do you feel that Reus will reach a point where, or do you think the point is now where, all right, those injuries are done, or do you still fear that there could still be an injury out there that could still derail him still? Which is what I fear. I hope it doesn't happen, but that is my fear.
Yeah, I mean, that's difficult to say, because I feel that the injuries he received were not like injuries due to, I don't know, like I'm not a medicine, I'm not, like a doctor, you know, but I felt that he was often injured by getting fouled. Like, because he's such a quick player, and on the first meters, like his acceleration is really huge. So like he received lots of fouls where he got injured. It was not like injuries who came out of like setting the foot wrong or this and that. But nevertheless, you must admit that he had lots of injuries, and maybe he's more prone to injuries because of his body type. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'm just hoping that he maintains that fitness. It's not possible to replace Reus. Like,
no, it's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really.
So, Sancho, Jadon Sancho. I've come out and said this is England's golden boy. How good is he? Like
for me, he's like huge. He's like a really strong talent. Like there was some talk about this Manchester United dude. What's his name?
Is it Rashford?
Rashford, yeah. I couldn't really say, like, because actually I also liked Rashford when I saw him, like before Mourinho, because under Mourinho didn't play. So, but for me it's difficult to compare those two, because for me
different kinds of players, you know.
Yeah, different kind of players. Because for me, Sancho is more like more tricks in his. He's more one-on-one, whereas Rashford, for me, at times seems to be a bit more about reliant on his speed, which is not a bad thing.
No. Like, no. You see, whenever people say that, okay, a guy relies on their speed, that's not to insult them. That's just a different kind of game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for me, like as you said with Sancho, he's just a more technical kind of player. So because he's not that fast, he's not that strong, he has to rely on his technique, which is just it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, like, he is quick. Like, don't I mean, he's really quick. Yeah, but
he's not really known for his speed, and he doesn't use his speed as much as Rashford.
I mean, like, all of them need to use their speed, but it's like in a different way. Like for me, Rashford is more at the line, you know, like running into space, whereas Sancho is more of a guy who you could imagine running in the middle with the ball. And he's taking on like at like really crazy moments, like one-on-one situations, where he's very successful most of the time. So I think his I don't have the stats like 100% right, but I believe he has the most tried one-on-ones in the league, and the most the highest rate of success in terms of one-on-one.
Amazing. No, because for me, obviously, because I think the thing about this is obviously I've only seen him in a few instances for England, but I do feel like if in Dortmund, there's much more of a freedom. And what the issue I've always had with England is, like, I've always said this to English people, that Joe Cole could have been a world-class player, but England don't really embrace skillful technical players. So they don't really allow you to really freely express yourselves as much as, let's say, a Spain, a Italy, or a Brazil, or an Argentina would. But just think, like, if Sancho can bring the kind of freedom that he has, because every time he has the ball, he's trying to do something. If it doesn't come off, he'll pass, but his first thought is like, can I dribble this man? If I can't, okay, let me make the intelligent football play. And that is a very confident thing to have, where your player has a confidence of his first thought is, can I beat him, man? Can I move forward with the ball? So
yeah, I mean, like, for me, Sancho, he reminds me, if you could compare him to a player type, he really reminds me of a Neymar. Like, you know, I'm not a machine who can say who's quicker or anything. Yeah. Like, but in a way, he's he's so playful, like trying to do lots of one-on-ones, and really makes it happen quite often. So he reminds me of that approach. Like, I still think that Neymar obviously is like another level, you know.
Oh, for sure. No, but no, I mean, no, I get what you get. So, but look, let's move on. I want to move to Bayern Munich now.
Yeah.
Specifically, Niko Kovac. So,
yeah.
Beginning of the season, he came under a lot of pressure. Based on, you know, the team wasn't really getting the results. It was hard to follow in the footsteps of the great Jupp Heynckes. But he sort of found his way within this team and so forth. So do you think do you see Kovac, put it this way, if let's say you're Rummenigge or your Hunes, do you feel that Kovac deserves support and he's a long-term solution for Bayern? Or do you think that this may be a short-term thing? He doesn't really have the clout and the ability to really be a Bayern Munich guy for the long term to really make them as successful as the previous dudes?
I would say you need to give him this season.
Just this season, or
no,
next?
No, to form an opinion about that, because like unlike Pep or Heynckes, you can really see how this Bayern Munich team is in a transition period. So you really need to say that like big parts of former starting 11, or like the start of the team of the last decade of Bayern has like reached how do you say it? Like the last years of their career. So
no, they're over the hill. They're in the last
exactly.
Yeah.
So you really need to say that, like, the squad, like it's not compared to AC Milan. That AC Milan, I really would say that it's not like this.
Oh no, hell no, no, that's a whole different ball of wax, man.
Because you can already see that he's doing the transition. So, like, Süle is now in the starting 11. Robben, Gnabry and Coman are in the starting 11 when fit, and like, and in midfield also, like Kimmich is in the starting 11. Alaba is fine. So and in midfield, like where they play Thiago, they have
Thiago is cool. Javi Martinez, he's getting on. James Rodriguez doesn't seem to be getting enough game time.
Yeah. I mean, this is like James Rodriguez also had some injuries, you know, and Javi Martinez, he started now the first match of the season. And which was also a bit surprising to me, or for me. And but look, I must say, like, this team, like Gnabry, Coman, Kimmich, and also Süle, they are in the beginning of their career at the high level. So I mean, obviously, as Bayern Munich, you want them to win and to be those dudes, but you can't really say or expect them to be as good right now or that early. So you really think, in my opinion, you really need to wait and see how Kovac and Salihamidzic, how they will address this transition or like this phase, and how those players will produce this season. But like you can't really put too much fault on Kovac about this, like, because they started really good into the season and everybody was thinking, oh fuck, they will do it again. And then they suddenly were falling down, yeah. And this was like a bit surprising, and then everybody said, Kovac is not good, and he did this and that wrong. But those critics came after the losses, not before. You know, this is always the problem I got. Like everybody plays smart, and I knew that's gonna happen. But if you knew, why didn't you say so before this fall is gonna happen? You know, like. This is like really easy to say after a match that everything is shit, but this is the thing. So for me, I must say I know Kovac from Bayern Munich, from Frankfurt. I'm sorry, and he's like a really good cup coach. So I like in regards.
So when you say a good cup coach, does that mean, because again that sounds similar to Emery, good cup coach, not a good league coach?
I mean. I mean, like, he is a good cup coach, but like with Eintracht Frankfurt, he was also good in the Bundesliga. Maybe with Eintracht Frankfurt, it's not that easy to compete for higher positions because they don't have a good squad or team, or as good squad or team, and it's difficult to achieve those heights in the league. But in a cup, in one game or two games, everything's possible. So he has proven that he has this winner mentality in the cup. And there are media articles that suggest that he has like a really strong focus on stamina, like in his training regime. So this experience and also this know-how to win a cup with a not as strong team. This is why I'm really looking forward to the match against Liverpool also. Like, so I would say, no, you can't. You need to get with Kovac, and I think Bayern Munich doesn't do half things. Like they want the coach to succeed because this would mean that the team succeeds, and they don't think about Kovac about like a short-term solution. Because Kovac and also Salihamidzic, they're both have Croatian origin.
Oh, okay.
And they like, I think this is like they get along really good on a personal level, and they want Salihamidzic to succeed, and they want Kovac to succeed, and I don't see.
Okay, so you're saying that all those, especially when Bayern were struggling, and all those reports of Kovac is going to be sacked and Wenger is going to come in, that was all crap.
I mean, it was crap because Kovac started to win again, and they like, if he would have kept on losing, obviously Bayern Munich wouldn't have kept him. You know, it's all about results. But like, unlike I don't see many coaches who they would bring into and just sack Kovac, you know. Like, obviously,
no. Teams can't do that, but I think Bayern Munich are one of those clubs that I don't think that they'd pull the trigger that quickly during a season, unless it's got really bad.
And you know, like, they could, like, what they did with Heinz, they said like, okay, fuck it, Heinz, you want everything, but still we want Pep to build on that. And I mean, obviously Kovac, like what? Obviously we don't know yet, but he won't achieve the same thing like Heinz will. So like, no coach can ever be really that sure at Bayern Munich. But like he's a young coach, and I don't see many coaches, like maybe Klopp. Like Klopp would be the kind of coach, if he's available and he would go to Bayern Munich, then we would say, okay, fuck it, we fire Kovac and we get Klopp in. But I'm not sure that Klopp will leave after the season, and I'm not sure that Kovac will be that bad.
Oh no! I think that's unlikely. But look, I want to let's bring in actually, let me bring in Hudson-Odoi before we go to those other ones. Hudson-Odoi. So
yeah,
again, it's most likely going to happen. It's a question of when. Either January or the summer. I believe it's going to happen in the summer. I think Chelsea will do all they can just to keep him just for this month, because they still need to just keep him as someone to bring in if there are any injuries. But again, it seems like if he wants to come. So do you, and because a lot of people are saying, and the argument is that Hudson-Odoi don't go to Bayern Munich because are you sure you'll be able to play under that pressure? Will he be given game time? So just put that to one side. Do you, from what you've seen of Hudson-Odoi, I'm not sure how much you've seen, but from what you've seen of Hudson, actually, okay, how much have you seen of Hudson-Odoi first?
Nothing.
Have you seen enough of him play?
Nothing. I never saw him. I've just heard and read like that it is a phenomenal player, really quick.
Okay. Okay. So you know what? Let me come at another angle. If you're Hudson-Odoi, you know what Chelsea are, you know what Bayern Munich are. You're a teenager. Bayern Munich, Chelsea is you've come from the academy of Chelsea. You know Chelsea. You know the surroundings and everything. Do you keep the faith with Chelsea, or knowing Bayern Munich, do you feel that for a teenager, it's a risk worth taking, trying to fight for your place in a team that has come out and said that they want you, and as Salihamidzic has said, have really said glowing reviews about you? So would you push him towards him trying to move into Bayern Munich, or would you say that you don't think that a teenager who is unproven at a top level should risk coming to play under the pressure of Bayern Munich?
I think like if wait a second. I think that if Dortmund would knock on on this door, then the decision would be clear to move to Dortmund. That's my, like, from Chelsea to Dortmund. That would be clear as day. Now Bayern Munich, I feel like it's a new era for Bayern Munich, sort of, you know, like, because like if you think about it, you have they took Robben and Ribery when they were both like 24, 25 years old, and they stayed with them so long, you know, and like now they missed out on Sané, and I think they really are angry about that still, because he would be like perfect on the left or right even, I don't know. And I feel now they know they need to do something, and if they pay as much money for Hudson-Odoi, like 50 or 60 million, then he will definitely get playtime. So they won't put him on the bench and do him like that. They will believe that he is the first man for the job. You know, they won't pay 50 million for somebody who's on the bench. I think they won't do it like Barcelona or maybe Real Madrid, who spend huge money.
So you're saying if Bayern are willing to go to 50 million, that is a player that they want to really give game time, and that's a player that they truly value in the first team.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think that it's a good idea to go to the Bundesliga, because like it's simply more based on tactics and technical football, and you have more you get more supported by the refs as an technical or attacking player. because in England it's more like Wild Wild West, you know, like how they slide into the.
So basically, you're basically dissing the Premier League, pretty much.
No, I'm saying Premier League is definitely like a good product, and it's like, but it's a kind of different sport, you know, like in Bundesliga and the Premier League and La Liga, it's different sports altogether because you have differences in refereeing, and also the crowd is different how they react and such, and the coaches have differences. So for me it's a slight different kind of sports, you know. And I think that for a young player, for a technical player, for an attacking player, it makes sense to go to the Bundesliga, because here you can learn more on a tactical level, and you get more playing time. And you
no, because it's a league that embraces young players a lot more than almost any league.
Yeah. So like for I mean, it's always how it was in Bundesliga, you know. They try to make the best out of what they got, and like they try to get young players into the team, because ultimately the crowd cherishes if you have a young player who's starting his career and or was even in the own youth team, and he comes from the area, but still like buying a young player who is more like probably has a longer career at a club than like buying somebody for like the extreme opposite of it would be like getting a Kevin Prince Boateng, where you know he play only 1 year or 2 years, you know. So they know like it's a young player, he can develop even more, and so they hope that he will stay like for a long time at a club, and this hope they really cherish and want to make it a reality. Whereas in the Premier League, they think like, okay, let's not be too risky. We have the cash. Let's buy the finished article and let's see whether this works or not. So this is like a different approach. And I think as a young player, it's definitely good to go to the Bundesliga, because you can, like, injuries, you're not getting overplayed. You know, you have like you have a winter break. You have like, because they have also the national team they're playing for. You know, that's like at the end, it's better to have less games on a higher level than lots of games on a like really, but because it's all about fun. And if you play every week 2 games, you have training, this and that, and some injuries, then you lose fun into the game. And I think,
especially if it's very intense, because again, remember, Premier League, there's no winter break, so it's very intensive, and there's more running required. So,
and if you go to the Premier League, let's say with 25, 26, 27, this is fine. But at the beginning of a career, I think you still need to grow, and you have some ups and downs, you know. And I think it's better to play in a less robotic like league, you know, where you just need to produce every week and every time. And I think it's simply a more healthier career you have, and a better time, better for development. But the only thing is Bayern Munich, you know. But the thing is, like, if they really want to go hard on you and they pay the huge money, and like, what shall they do? I mean, they won't get you for 50 million and then they buy, let's say, Eden Hazard for 150 million. They won't do that, you know. They buy you. They have already Gnabry and Coman as a like for competition, because you don't just get nobody as a competitor on your position.
Yeah.
But they won't buy a big profile player in front of you. You know, they like either they will buy another one on your level, or like at the same time, like same age, even younger or something. But they won't buy like a big. I mean, like, who that would be? I wouldn't see it. I wouldn't see that at Bayern. I doubt that.
Okay, let's talk about this dude right now. Jerome Boateng. It looks as if everyone is fit, it's as if Kovac trusts Sule and Hummels as his defensive pairing. So do you think, as far as being elite, playing at the highest level, that Boateng is done at the highest level? Do you think it's over for him?
Yeah, I mean, like, first of all, Hummels and Boateng are competitors. And so I think it's like it seems like Süle is the constant, whereas Boateng and Hummels need to compete for the place next to him. So it's not like Hummels is the definite starter, which is my first point on this. And the second one is that Boateng simply has, I mean, he's a heavy, strong, like really heavy player, you know, like he's like really physical, and he used to be like really quick. And this kind of body, like if you're 190 or I think he's around 90 probably, and really quick. So he has lots of muscles, you know, and like this type of player, if he's injured and he's approaching like a certain age, he needs more time to get into his at his optimum level, even after like the World Cup, like, you know. So like this is a thing where Hummels has a slight advantage, because Hummels was never the quickest, and he was always about positioning and
I mean, basically reading of the game.
Yeah. This is like, you know, for a central defender, it's either like either you have really good positioning, and or you are more dependent on your physical traits, really quick, and then you can get back into good position when you notice that you're not in the good position.
Oh no, I mean, just very, it's why I trying to explain to people, especially like even like my younger subscribers, why Godin is so good. Because I mean, what Van Dijk is doing is amazing. I respect Van Dijk, Ramos, and all these guys who are much more of the modern ball playing defenders. But there is an art to and a high intelligence to what Godin does. Because Godin is a guy that has pretty much no speed. So when you have no speed playing in a game that is as the fastest as it's ever been, you have to have extremely high defensive IQ to make up for your speed. So that just shows how good his defensive is.
That is good, but like, of course, being quick is a necessity which you need to have. Like, you need to be quick to play under certain systems. Like, for example,
no, for sure. It's like Godin couldn't work in a Liverpool or a Dortmund system,
or Pep Guardiola, like with a high line, where you need to, because Boateng is the kind of defender which works perfect or used to work perfect in a high line, because where he needs to defend so much space behind him. So this is like also, I think, what is really good about Van Dijk, because he's also the type of defender which can defend a huge amount of space behind him. So this is, of course, like positioning is like, of course, like really good, but like depending on the system, you expect your central defender to do certain things. You know, under Pep, Klopp, and some other coaches, they want their central defenders to be like playmakers, or to run at the midfield, you know, and break into the opposing block, and to release the ball like a bit later, and not just pass a 5-meter pass to a central defensive midfielder and to let him opening the game always. So if you are that kind of central defender and playing in that kind of system, you are automatically out of good defending position quite often, and you need to be quick to get back into this position. So this is my take on it. But I think, yeah, Boateng, like this, I don't think
that... So is it over for him? As far as an elite defender, is it over for Boateng?
I don't know.
It's yes or no, man. You gotta give me a yes or a no. Either you still believe that he can still be elite, or it's over.
He won't be that elite kind of defender he used to be, but maybe he will find a new side about him, and more play about as a defender who can have really good positioning, and like that's up to for the future to see. But he won't be the same type of defender what made him like this huge superstar on this position. But that is, I think it's over because he's injured too much. And I think Bayern Munich also being interested into this player of Atletico Madrid, and Pavard from Stuttgart coming is like clear indicators that Boateng won't be that dude anymore in the central defense of Bayern Munich no more.
All right. So let's Ribery Robben. So Robben is leaving at the end of the season. So Ribery is leaving at the end of the season, or he has 1 more year left?
I don't know, and I think Robben. Like I really don't know. I didn't follow.
No, I mean I know for sure that this is Robben's last season for Bayern Munich.
I think Robben's last season, and Ribery is still up to debate.
Okay, so for debate. Okay. So
I think
let me. So do you? Because these guys have been huge, amazing for Bayern Munich. They were pivotal in the only treble that a German side has won.
Yeah.
So what do you think Bayern do? Do you think that Bayern needs to look to replace them, not by exact same players, but similar, i.e. 2 wide attack-sided players, one who can cross, one who can be as an inside forward? Or do you think that Bayern can't replace them and they need to go in a completely new direction and maybe build from the center with a number 10?
No, I believe like pretty much all coaches, every coach of the top teams, they are about wingers. You just need to look at France, like how they won the World Cup. It's simply the status of football right now, that it's all about pacey wingers, inverted wingers, like more like strikers, but coming from a wing. And
just very quickly, I mean, before you go, because I need to just pick up on that. Like, you say that it's all about wingers and inverted wingers, but my thing about this is that, does it have to be? Because again, I've always said that, fair enough, I agree that football evolves, but there's a space for any kind of strategy to work. Because I do believe that we're going to see a resurgence of 2 strikers, maybe the next 4, 5, 6 years' time. I think that's going to happen. But I just think in the last 6, 5 years, it's been very midfield heavy, very inverted wingers. So do you feel that every team just has to have amazing wingers because that's just how football is, or you don't need to have that? There is a different way in which you can attack.
I mean, I think I'm not I think this players like Sane, Salah, Mane, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, all those winger/inverted wingers or playmakers or whatever you would call, or supporting strikers, whatever you would call them, which are coming from the wing. I think it's too much of an advantage to give up if you don't have them, because on the wing you simply have that space,
more space. Yeah.
You simply, and coming from this, and I mean it doesn't need to be either or. It's I think it's possible to have a playmaker and to have those wingers. I think it's important to have, for example, Dortmund, Favre. He's playing with Reus as a supporting striker slash
attacking midfielder. So he comes from the center of the
exactly. So he is bringing in you can't always play via the wing. It's not, and you need the center, of course, but in an attacking way, I think you limit yourself too much if you build onto a 4-4-2, because it's you can do this on a lower football, in lower leagues, but I think on this professional level, like 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, or 3. What is it? 3-4-3. I like.
We see what I like, because I'm actually just even writing this down now. Like 4-3-1-2 is a really, like, whenever I play on Pro Evo or I play games, I mostly use 4-3-1-2. So you have the number 10 who plays in behind 2 strikers. So it's pretty much as like a 3. Or you have another tactic that I use on Football Manager, 4-3-3, which is what Barcelona have pretty much used since Messi has been around. But then, as you said, like, not every team has a Messi, you know. So
yeah, but you know, like from the middle, like this first starting 11 you were talking about, it's FIFA. You know, it's like different video game than on
yeah.
And like you need, like, if you have quick players, it's just like you need, like, they need space, or it's best if they have space. And I mean, like, if you have Sané out there, I mean, and you have him in your squad, yeah, would you then stick to a 4-4-2, or would you try to make the best out of Sané and to play?
No. See, that's very, very key. But let's get back, because I don't want to lose the point that we had. So back to Ribery and Robben. So you feel that Bayern should still try and look at quality, because again, Hudson-Odoi, he's a wide man. Coman, wide man. Gnabry, wide man.
Yeah.
So you still feel that, because again, we'll never see a Robben in this generation. He's one of the most unique players of all time. You can get another Ribery, 2-footed player who can cross. Robben is impossible. He can never be replicated. But so you still feel that Bayern should still look to replace, because I don't think Coman or Gnabry are replacements for Ribery or Robben. I don't think they'll ever have the upside to that level. So do you think that Bayern still need to try and find potential Ribery and Robben players?
I think Coman is underrated. He's like, I watched him before his injury, and he was like, and now he's getting back into it, but he was pretty good, and he was like really quick and really taking on players. Like, he's really strong with the ball at his feet, with pace, which was a bit problematic at the beginning, was his passing, or like his flanks. You know,
and also his decision making. Like, so many times he would run the ball off. Rather than like take the cross early, he'd always run the ball off.
Yeah, exactly. But this became much better, and was like, I think this is like a matter of experience. You know, you can't really say whether he will. This can become better. You know, like, I think he's definitely better than, for example, Pulisic.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you know, like, so this is it. And Gnabry is like also a type of player. Like, he's really like,
I like him. I really like Gnabry.
He's special. Like, he's not as quick, but he is like, he has this a certain audacity, similar to what Sancho had. Exactly like Sancho. He was surprised. Skillful. Yeah, he's skillful, and you are surprised at which time he's taking on players, and it works quite often. And he's but unlike Sancho, he's the kind of guy who would also slide to get the ball into the net, you know. And but his problem is also like similar to Coman, is the injury prowess both have. So this is the thing. Like, they still are pretty young, and yeah. But I really think that Bayern Munich should stick to that. What they do, that they try to get those wingers, and try to, because it's not it can, of course, Robben and Ribery had both fantastic careers, and they won't get a player for 50 million who are at the level as Robben or Ribery were when they were at their best. You know, you won't get those. You need nowadays to pay 120, 150 million for those kind of players. You know, like but you never know whether maybe Hudson-Odoi will become that kind of player, like Dembele and Sané. You know, those kind of players are already like they need to be lucky and get those kind of players before other clubs, and which is the situation right now. You know, like PSG. I read just today, the sporting director maybe gets sacked after the season because Tuchel was dissatisfied or unhappy that he was not able to get De Jong to convince to PSG, or like Sané didn't go to Bayern Munich, and Dembele, like, you know, this is a kind of like Barcelona is also really like, of course there was pressure and media and everything, but they stick to him, and I think they know that they will stick to him because it's really difficult to get this quality so early without paying. Okay, Dembele was quite expensive, but it's the prices too high. You know, there's less margin for error in your transfers. And
I think since the whole Neymar thing, everything, then the market is all messed. Yeah, like Coutinho went for 150 million. That just shows you what's market that we're living in. But look, we just need to sort of, because we still have a few topics to go through. I want to make sure that we go through all these things. I want to talk about Schalke. So Schalke finished 4th last season. They're currently 12th at the moment. They're currently 12th this season with a total of 21 points. They've lost 9 times. So what do you think has happened with Tedesco and Schalke? Why have they faltered so badly after doing so well last season?
Good point. I mean, people were hating about Max Meyer, who left for Crystal Palace.
How the hell did that happen from Schalke to Palace? How the hell did that happen?
Money, man. Like, he's like, the amount of money he gets at Crystal Palace, he wouldn't get anywhere.
That is madness, man. So he's getting paid more for a team just above the relegation zone than a team who are in the Champions League. That's crazy.
Yeah, but look, Schalke now is also not, I don't have a table in front of me, but they are also nowhere near UEFA Cup or anything. So, and for me, it's okay. It's definitely not it's not a better team or club. Definitely not. Like, Schalke has a higher profile than.
Oh, for sure. I mean, no, that's even up for debate. Yeah, I mean, basically, it was purely for the money. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think he, like, obviously would also have joined another team, but you know, you need to see Max Meyer in a different light. He played for Schalke since, like, he was really young, and he's like a really good player, technical player, and you know, like, if you're coming from the youth team, it's always a bit more difficult in negotiations, maybe also, like, you know, they say like, we made you big, but so you need to be fine with less money. And so I think, like, it's not like, if you, of course, you don't know what would happen now at Schalke. You know, maybe Schalke would be much better, but looking at this season, he earns much more money, makes the appearance of a new league, and who knows what, like, it's the first season in the Premier League, so like, it's not perfect, but maybe next season he gets much more play time and will be a vital part of the team. And then, you know, he has, like, what kind of experience he has then in this time. You know, he's a Premier League experience, Bundesliga experience. So I think it's always good to broaden the horizon and to see something new, because it improves you as a player and as a person as well. So I think it's not a, but I mean, you don't know what options there were, you know, like, I don't know what kind of other teams wanted to get him, but I think Max Meyer, he has that kind of Bundesliga experience already, like 2 years maybe, or 3 years. And at Schalke, from Schalke, where do you go in the Bundesliga? There are not many teams you would go to, you know, like, he can't go to Dortmund because it's like he would.
There's no space there, yeah.
Yeah, and, like, also they are, like, huge rivals. There are not many players moving in between those teams, and Also, Bayern Munich is too big, and Leipzig, yeah, maybe Leipzig or Hoffenheim would be good, but I don't know. Like if another club is paying you double the salary and it's another league, of course it's not. But it's I think it's not that much of a bad move. But but don't. And also another thing, not only Max Meyer left, but also Goretzka.
Yeah.
I mean, Goretzka is like a really, really effective and really good player. I really like him much, and I rate him highly. I think for Schalke, it's simply they couldn't. I don't know, like they couldn't.
No, because also like like Schalke, like didn't they had Neuer at one point?
Yeah, Sané.
So they've produced a lot of amazing players who are now amazing now. So
lots of them. Even Gundogan was in the Schalke at some point. So the thing is, Schalke is like because in this area of Germany, it's the most populated area in Germany, and which is why they have so many talents in this area. This is like, and Schalke is obviously, along with Dortmund, the biggest club in this area.
Okay.
And which is why those two teams attract the most talents on a youth level, because they have so many players. It's there in this area of Germany. And which is why they produce the best talent. And Schalke always had issue to keep them, and also to make the next step. Like they didn't win the league like Dortmund, and the pressure, like Schalke is, you can a bit compare Schalke to Arsenal London. Like the expectations are so big in Schalke, and they're so proud on the team and the club. The pressure is so big. So the pressure on the coaches is so big. So lots of coaches get hired or fired. It's hire and fire there at Schalke. And the president of Schalke, who's huge, businessman also. He has like some big company in Germany, but he's not from the subject. It's not a football. He has not a football background. So the problem was the management, like, they had the wrong persons in charge, and which is always like reason for that is our president, who is in charge of hiring the right guy, So this is the problem with Schalke. And the Tedesco I really think Tedesco is a great coach, but he didn't get the players, I think, and I don't know what he was looking for, but obviously it didn't work out. And they got a central defender, like he's Senegalese, so I should know or remember his name, but he's pretty good. But like this, Tedesco is really defensive oriented type of coach, and for those kind of coaches, you need goals, you need goals to win ultimately. And if you don't have that quality and you can't buy it, then it's stagnation. So this is the thing with me with Schalke is they lost Goretzka, they lost Max Meyer, and they were not able to get good quality midfielders as a replacement, obviously, and they are not having this attacking prowess there. Like they have this McKenny or McKennedy, or I don't know, like he's a good player, and Harit also a good player. But both they bought one striker from Switzerland, a black dude, I've forgotten his name, but he got a long-term injury. But like the youngsters they bought them, and they are like good, but they're injured quite often. And they're not constant enough in their output, and this is the thing with Schalke. So it's a complicated club all over together. You never know what happens with them.
So let's jump over to Nagelsmann and Hoffenheim. So my thing about this is that, and this is, I think it was even like Devil from Banter Show that actually told me about this like last year before the season started. That before this season started, there was already an agreement in place for him to join Red Bull Leipzig.
Correct.
Now, does that sound a bit screwed up to you? That because again, Hoffenheim have to play Leipzig, so literally, a manager is already playing his future employer already. Obviously, you expect someone to be professional, but do you think that it's slightly odd that you would agree to join, as a manager, you would agree to join another team before the season has even started?
Yeah, it's definitely not the norm. But at the same time, Hoffenheim and Leipzig are both really professional run clubs. And they're really like, I mean, football in general is like really like gets more and more professional, and they're more and more, it's like a really results oriented business. Like it's like capitalism pure, you know? So I think they both handle it really good. Hoffenheim and Leipzig, I mean, Leipzig, yeah, I mean, they're like fine. They're like, I think they both are playing to their expectations. And Nagelsmann is a really, really good coach, and I think he coached at Hoffenheim now for a really long time. And if there's a certain base of trust between coach, management, and board, then those kind of things are possible. You know, it's similar to a relationship. Like you have those jealous types, and you have those types who are trusting their girlfriend or boyfriend. And like usually the jealous type, you can like expect them to cheat, you know, as well. And which is why I think, oh, okay, I'm cheating, so maybe she is also cheating, so maybe, yeah, you know. And like if there's trust, and if the performance is right, then I think there's no problem about doing such a thing. And it's like, for me, it's noteworthy that in this football business, it's still like it's possible to do such a thing, which is like I think it's I put it like this, you know, like you can really, it's noteworthy and praiseworthy that they are able to work towards the goals, given this already signed deal, and that it's clear that he's going to leave after the season. I think this is noteworthy that the management and the board were trusting Nagelsmann, that he is still delivering the goods and he gives everything for the club. And Nagelsmann at the same time is also like trusting. I mean, like it's also good for from Nagelsmann that he told his bosses so early that he's gonna leave. You know, I mean, he could also stall them and say, yeah, I don't know, but he actually knows already. You know, and then tells them late, and then they have problems to find a new coach. Now they have time to prepare. And so I think like from both sides, it's like it's a noteworthy and praiseworthy decision, and a good thing. You know?
So how well do you think he will do at Leipzig? Because I think like what Nagelsmann has done with Hoffenheim is amazing, because whenever a manager can take a team that isn't really that well known, not that many stars, and do well, finish in the top 4, and really compete again, like what's it called? Because I watched the Bayern Munich game, that was a very competitive game. So, how well do you think that he will do in a club that has more resources, has better players, and is a higher profile club? Do you now think that we will now have a genuine 3-horse race?
Like as of now, Gladbach is the 3rd horse and on the race, but yeah, definitely. Like Nagelsmann is the type of coach you would expect. Like this is the thing, you know, you never know. Like you see with Klopp and Pep, you know, and Tuchel, like they spend money, but they deliver the goods, you know. Like you see what it's well spent. You never feel like of course they are like they spend so much, but when you see a couple of games or you see some couple of performances, you think like, okay, it's well spent money, you know. And of course, like you don't know whether Nagelsmann will be able to show that at Leipzig, because Leipzig at the end is also not like Dortmund and Bayern Munich. They're spending less for the players. Yeah, they have like some rules, like there was some, like, I don't know whether they changed this policy, but they had a rule that every player they signed must be below 25 years old or something like this.
Oh, sugar.
Yeah, something like this, but I don't know whether they really stick to that. But the tendency is there, and they don't want to spend so much money, and also they tend to source some players from Red Bull Salzburg.
Oh yeah,
you know, they have some cooperations on the same sponsor. So Leipzig is not that club where you would see Nagelsmann spending big and building there like a competitor for Bayern Munich or Dortmund from spending, you know.
Okay. So if he moves to Red Bull, you don't feel that he should really be expected to compete with Dortmund or Bayern? It's just to, okay, you know what, try and be that third tree. Because I think that, look, man, based on how well that you've done with Hoffenheim, you're giving much more resources. Why can't you be ahead of Mönchengladbach and really compete with Bayern, which players that Red Bull already have?
No, Gladbach definitely. But you need to also see that Leipzig was managed already really good. You know, like Hasenhüttl. Now Rangnick is like a football Einstein as well. He's like he's like he used to be the sport director, and now he just be the coach to wait until Nagelsmann getting there. But they're like really like brains, you know. So you can't really like whether Nagelsmann is that much better than Hasenhüttl. I don't know, you know. Like it's like maybe at this it's like marginal differences in terms of output at the end, but definitely I would like think, because also Gladbach is a really well run club, you know. So but actually I would think that Leipzig would get ahead of Gladbach in the league.
Wait, let's even, you mentioned it, let's look at Mönchengladbach right now, a team who, you know, they're never going to win this title, but they're making it interesting. 3 points behind Bayern Munich, and of course 9 points behind Dortmund. But they're still in there, making things interesting, and you know, still, you know, with a good shout. So I want to look specifically at Thorgan Hazard. So I think whenever it's a case of where, you know, you have a brother who's one of the best players in the world, you know, you're always sort of kept in the shadow because, like, oh yeah, you're the brother that's not that good. But his stock is slowly rising. So do you see Thorgan Hazard remaining at Mönchengladbach, or do you think this is a dude that can perhaps play for a team that is on a level higher than Mönchengladbach in the future?
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, there are, it's again rumors, so I don't really know. But it is like, obviously, it was the case that Chelsea had a buyback clause in Thorgan Hazard's contract.
Oh, okay.
And it seems to be like when Chelsea got Pulisic from Dortmund, that Dortmund at the same time negotiated with Chelsea that they won't be able to get Thorgan Hazard, and that they could get Thorgan Hazard at the end of the season. And also the manager of Gladbach was asked in from some reporter, like I think it was 2 weeks ago, whether he expects Thorgan Hazard to stay after the season. And he didn't say definite yes or no, which means no, like most of the times. So I felt like
so he's pretty much leaving this summer. You think?
I think he will leave this summer. Yeah.
But to where? Where does he go?
Dortmund would be definitely like, it would be a big signing for, like, Dortmund. It would be awesome. Like, I think it's much better option than Pulisic. And Torgen Hazard knows the Bundesliga, so it would be perfect.
So, actually, no, sorry. Do you not rate Pulisic?
Not so much.
So why? Because again, for me, like, I mean, because I will look past the hype, because I believe that he's America's best ever player already.
Possible, yeah.
Because America never had guys, and I do think that, you know, people can get lost in the hype that America have had about him. So do you then think that he's a player that's perhaps a bit overrated and really isn't? Because he is still good.
He's good, of course.
But so you don't think he's really as good as he's been made out to be by the hype and the media?
I think, like, he's really good, but for me, it seems like it's like everybody agrees on it. Like, I don't know whether that's the case, but everybody sees also the shirts selling volumes,
merchandise,
when they get them. And like Premier League specifically, you know, where like this is like a big part of a deal, like like having like the big American player as in the English league. I mean, where, you know, we have like England, US, and so I think he's a really good player, but he's not that. Like, he's not, you know, he's not there with Sancho, Mbappe, Dembele, and all those kind of youngsters who are destined to make up for the empty spot behind Messi and Cristiano, you know. And then he's not the kind of player who gets on the same. It's not on the same like level, I would think. Oh, Buddy's coming. Yeah, I think he's a good player, but he's not as good as Torgen Hazard, for example.
Okay, so before we just go
also Torgen Hazard is older, you know, so he's not. Yeah.
So before we go to our last question, let's just touch about Lewandowski.
Yeah.
So despite all the goals he scored for Bayern, the amazing 5 goals in 10 and 12 minutes. I personally don't believe that we've ever seen the Dortmund Lewandowski for Bayern. So would you agree with that? That we've never really seen Lewandowski at his true peak and his heights for Bayern Munich? Not the same for Bayern.
Still, Buddy just came.
Go.
I think no, Lewandowski is big, and he is just like with a different team now, and so. Like at Dortmund, he was more on his own, I think. And it was a different football also. Like, so I don't think that he, like some people, like the French who just came, who also like were a bit critical about Lewandowski's attitude. Yeah, thanks. Because he seemed to be a bit arrogant and
so you mean his attitude at Bayern or attitude in general?
On the pitch, like
being let me even speak on that. See, I think it's a few things. I do feel that there was a moment in time when Lewandowski generally wanted that move to Real Madrid, but then he flopped in the Champions League. But also, which is where it now comes to the whole Ribery Robben thing. I don't think that the wingers or the wide men play for Lewandowski. So I don't think they really bring him or use him in the game as much. So he grows frustrated. Because how many times have you seen when Robben has just taken a shot or something that's happened and Lewandowski's like, bro, you could have just passed me. I was here in the open. But in Dortmund, he was always getting all those touches. So do you think that his frustration is legitimized, or again, he has a bad attitude and he needs to be more professional?
I think like it was not really Robben or Ribery. It was more like when the youngsters were playing, you know. And I think Robben and Ribery, you wouldn't like maybe there were some, but they wouldn't give a shit, you know.
Yeah.
But I felt like in this moment when he did it, it was like you felt like there's something going on, you know. But I think like he needs to be realistic. Like if he goes to bigger, like not bigger, yeah, but Barcelona or Real Madrid, like Cristiano Ronaldo, like how often would he assist him? You know, like back then, you know, like
yeah. Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
So and and I would also say that recently he showed much better attitude, and he's like it seems also like media has now a much better
Relationship
opinion
with
about him. Like they were at times a bit critical, but now the season he's not in the people not making him out to be like a bad influence in the team anymore. So I think Lewandowski overall accepted also, like I don't know whether it's this case. This is like a story. He accepted that he is as a really good club and he can achieve also really big things. And I mean Madrid or Barcelona, I don't know. Like
most likely, and I think it's too late now. But if it was going to be years ago for Real Madrid. But like, look, let's just quickly pull this in together. So, final topic before we go right now. So it's pretty much very simple. And again, you know how I roll. Not on the fence. A yes or no answer. Who wins the league?
Dortmund.
So, what makes you feel that Dortmund, despite Bayern Munich's experience and so forth, that Dortmund can keep their heads and win it this season? So what makes you think that they won't fall under the pressure and lose points when Bayern really rack up that pressure?
I think it won't be pressure. And I think if they won't make it, then it's because of injuries. And like injuries of key players like Reus, for example. I think they managed to win without him against Leipzig in Leipzig, which I think is huge.
Oh, that was huge.
So there I thought like, okay, so they kept with the 6 points. Like that's why. So I think maybe Bayern will win against them at home. Yeah, I mean possible, or a draw. And Bayern is like really good. But I don't see either of them losing much in the upcoming, like in the last half of the season. And I still think like Dortmund, where like the squad is big, like a bit too big, but it's like they're just winning. And so this is why I think I don't think it's a pressure, because they have that experience, like Reus, Witzel, Delaney, and also Götze, and all of those players, they have experience. You know, they played for Bayern Munich. They played in big matches in the World Cup or European Championship. They have that kind of experience, and to not lose to that pressure. And like at home, Dortmund is a fortress. Away, they are also really strong. I believe that Dortmund is gonna make it, but yeah, this is. I don't think they will fall down and lose many points. I do believe that Bayern Munich will win against them at home, but I still think that Dortmund will manage to keep the first spot.
All right. Okay, bro.
What do you say? What do you say?
Oh, who do I think who will win?
Yeah.
I really would want Dortmund to win, because I think it's going to be very good for Bundesliga. But I really feel that there's going to be 1 or 2 games where they'll play well, but they'll just get caught. And I think Niko Kovac has cracked this Bayern Munich team, so I think they're going to fall into some consistency. And it's going to be close, but I think Bayern Munich will just edge it. I think Bayern Munich just edge it in the end. But look, it's great for. I mean, the fact that we're in end of January and they're 6 points ahead, we've not seen this in a long time. So it's a look. Mönchengladbach for it's what, only 3 points behind the Bayern. So it's great for the league. It's great for the league. But look, man, I've got to run, man. It's been great. Thank you so much for joining in. I think guys are definitely going to enjoy this one, because we talked for like over an hour, but it was very good stuff, man. So yeah, man, thank you, bro. And I will post it. Thanks, bro.
Yo, see you, man. Ciao.
Peace.